teacher whose identical twin sister died after their vehicle sped off a 200-foot cliff.
Witnesses saw the sisters fighting right before the crash.
The sister was pulling her sister's hair, apparently.
The SUV accelerated, made a sharp turn into a rock wall, and showed no signs of braking.
But in court, the judge determined there was not enough to support that murder charge.
Her sister's going to be buried shortly, and ideally, she will be there to grieve with her family.
An update on the Twisted Twins, so-called. A judge dropped the murder charges against Alexandria Duval yesterday, ruling that it could not be proven due to a lack of evidence. Back with Anahita, Lisa, and Pat. Anahita, does that ruling seem appropriate?
Absolutely, Dr. Drew. I don't think there was enough evidence to win on a murder 2 charge. It just didn't make sense. I mean, the surviving sister, the criminal defendant here, she put herself in the same amount of danger as her sister who died. So
what if it were murder-suicide?
Well, yeah, again, you need to prove more that this was an intentional killing. They might have overcharged with a murder 2 charge. I think that they probably could have done better with a manslaughter charge, but to prove that this was an intentional killing, Dr. Drew, the evidence just simply was not there.
Joining me is Dr. Joan Friedman. She is a psychotherapist, twin expert, author of, quote, The Same But Different. It's a book about adult twins. Dr. Friedman, what do you make of these two? We are hearing there's a lot of chaos in their relationship. They come from a family of addiction. They were addicts. And what do you make of it?
Well, I'm sorry that this happened to them, but I think the public has a right to know that a lot of twins don't get along, and it's important that they understand it. These particular set of twins, from what I read, were so terribly codependent. They basically raised themselves without a mother. They were loners. They apparently took showers together. They had few friends. They really had few other close friends. They were a very secretive, collusive pair, and they existed alone together in the world. And when their success was going along very well, it was fine. But the minute they started having difficulties, which I guess were of their own making in terms of needing more money and more power and more press, they started to get into trouble. And they had a downward spiral. And I think what happened is that because they were so needful of one another, they had no one else in their life. So they started blaming each other. They were angry. They were powerless. They were defenseless. And I think, and along with their drinking and all the criminal acts and the disorderly conduct, they were just falling down a rabbit hole. And, you know, twins fight, all twins fight, regardless of what people might feel. But these twins were really, really desperate. I can't say that it was intentional or unintentional, but they obviously were both self-destructing in some way, and this was unfortunately their end.
Yes, Lisa, thank you for that. Joan, rather, Dr. Friedman, for giving us that interpretation. And Lisa, I'm going to go to you. Now, so we've got, as Dr. Friedman is saying, we have the enmeshment, we have the downward spiral. I heard yesterday there was a possible bipolar diagnosis. They obviously have severe addictive pathology. You actually took a class from one of the twins. You're down there in Florida. Did you see any of this?
I did. Of course not. I mean, a lot of times people's symptoms could be masked, especially when you're in a yoga class. You can't always, you know, judge a book by its cover. But I personally think that they likely both had some type of PTSD symptoms that were being presented in different forms. And I think, like the other doctor had mentioned, all of this just exacerbated to the point of self-destruction. Because what happens is when somebody undergoes, you know, trauma and they get these PTSD symptoms, they get emotional reactive responses, but they also get core negative rooted belief systems. And when somebody has these core negative rooted belief systems, it's toxic. And what it causes is a self-sabotage in different forms of their life. And these two really needed proper treatment. Obviously, I didn't detect any of that in a yoga class. I didn't see any of them together. It was a calm environment. I actually love their yoga studio, and I was really sad when it shut down and they were gone.
That's a shame.
It's definitely PTSD symptoms.
It's a sad story top to bottom.